Up next, I'd like to invite Iskandar. Iskandar is a regular speaker. He gives us the platform updates each month. And this month is going to be quite short because there isn't much news on Facebook. But even though it's short, I can guarantee it will be good.
My name is Iskandar. I've been working with the Facebook platform pretty much regularly for the past 3 to 4 years since it first came out. And I've been doing a regular speaking gig at this event every month, going over what's changed and what's new in the Facebook platform, geared mostly towards developers, but also for non-technical people as well. So just to get an idea of who's in the audience, how many of you are technical people? Please raise your hand. Excellent, good. As Todd said, there's not a huge amount of stuff that you need to know about this month. I think perhaps because Facebook have been working on something special that they might unveil at the end of the month, which Todd mentioned. We don't know, we'll have to wait and see. They have not said anything official about Facebook timeline for pages yet. They're keeping their cards very close to the chest, but so we'll have to wait and see. So what has changed in the past month? A few things. So how many of you have used the new auth dialog? Yeah, some of you, great. So this was enabled on February 1st as sort of a migration. You could opt into it. At the end of this month, so on March 1st, this will be a migration that will be applied to all apps. So there's two parts to the new auth dialog. There's the main generic permissions page, which has some extra bits which make it more friendly for users, so you can communicate more to users about what your app does and what you're asking for. The bit in the bottom right is about timeline integration. So if you have Open Graph actions and objects that you're using, you can preview a little bit of what those are here. In my example, I think you can chow down on pizza slices, admire oil paintings, and some other stuff. This is my little demo app. So that's the first one. You can also set the default privacy settings, so who can see stuff from the app. So I've got a friend list, I think probably most people do, called colleagues. So when I'm doing this test app and doing stuff, I can just share with the colleagues only, so no one else can see it. And that's a great way of, if you're using an app, you can decide at the very beginning who you want to see the actions and stuff that the app generates. So that's the first dialog. If you ask for more permissions, there's a second dialog, which is called the extended permissions dialog. This is another great leap forward for users, because previously it was all or nothing. Your app would ask for 12 different things. If the user didn't want to, say, share their email address or give you access to post to the wall, they couldn't turn that one thing off. They had to say, no, I'm not going to use the app at all. That was great for app developers, not so great for users. So now you can probably see them on the far right here of this little window, this little dialog. There's a little X, which means users can opt out of an individual permission, which is great for users. App developers, there's more work for us now, because our app needs to be responsive to users if they don't have a specific permission. We can't assume that they have granted us permission to do anything. We have to check each time we try and use that permission to do something. So that's the second one. Again, great for users, not so great for developers. So again, this will be rolled out to all apps on March 1st. So if you haven't had a look at the auth dialog settings for your app, you should go in and check it. Add some good copy and descriptions to the headline to make your users know what's going on. Great. Next thing. This is kind of an important thing. How many of you have used offline access permissions to do stuff? OK, so a fair amount. So offline access permission is basically the user authorizing you to use their access token on their behalf even after they've left your app. So they come in, log into your app, grant offline permission, and then go away. You can still do stuff in the background. Say you want to pull their profile for updates and pull their data down. You can do that. Or say you want to post something, which you shouldn't, you could do that as well. So what's happening is Facebook are now deprecating this as of May 1st. The offline access permission will go away. There will be no permanent access token at all anymore. So that could present some problems for a lot of different apps who are relying on permissions to do things in the background, like post to a page wall, for example. So what can you do? Well, now you can take any valid access token and extend it for 60 days. Right? And that's a simple API call, which basically says, I want to exchange this token for a longer lasting one. You can't automatically do this, though. So if you have a server-side OAuth going on, and say you have an app that posts to a user's wall every once in a while, you can't automatically update that. The user has to come back to your app, one of the things expired or before it's expired, so you can extend it. That's because you need the auth code, part of the OAuth transaction. So you might have to start using reminders to get users to come back to the app so you can refresh the long-lived access token. This is really great. This is something that we've been asking for since Facebook questions came out. Can we use the API to create a Facebook question? And the answer finally is yes. Now we can. You can post on behalf of a user, so you need publish stream permission and you need a valid access token. And you can publish on behalf of a page. So if you have a page management tool, you can ask polls directly using your app without having the user go through the Facebook UI. How do you do it? Very simple graph call. You can specify a question. You can toggle on and off whether users can add their own options. And you can provide a list of options. So on my demo, I've asked, what's your favorite color? And I've allowed new options here. And you can choose blue, red, green, or walrus, which is, of course, my favorite color. You can also read questions from the stream, and you can also delete them if your app has created them. When you read a question, though, you cannot see which option individual users has chosen. So you can only see an aggregate number. So you can't find out if my colleague Nabil voted for blue. We won't find out. But I will know that 12 people did blue, 20 did red, 1,000 did walrus, and 0 did green, which isn't really true, but never mind. OK. Also, what you can do with the Graph API, a new bit, a functionality is a new subscribers connection. So you can manage and see what objects a user has subscribed to. This is directly related to the subscribe button that you'll see in lots of places now. And you can also find out who is subscribed to a user. So this sort of enables a lot of Twitter kind of functionality or Twitter app functionality to see who's subscribing to you, who are you subscribing to, can you get recommendations. You can probably pretty easily port a whole bunch of Twitter apps over to Facebook using this. So that's pretty cool. You need to get the user subscriptions permission or the friends subscriptions permissions to read and read that stuff. OK, so timeline is out. You've got Open Graph actions and objects. I could post right now to my profile, I am speaking at the Facebook Developer Garage London. Great. What if I wanted to do that for every single event that I've been to? Well, you can now post items to the user's timeline in the past. And the way you do that is really trivial. You just set the start time to the date the thing happened. And that's it. So this is great for the example of, if I do have a history that's written somewhere, or maybe, I don't know, there's going to be a raft of apps that use this to take a different source of data for a user's life history, maybe, and push that onto the timeline in one go. So you can look forward to seeing a lot of apps that will do that to help fill out a user's timeline, so it's not a manual process. So in my example, I decided I wanted to try chowing down on some pizza on New Year's Eve, 1999, because that's when I was partying, like it was the aforementioned year. So all I did was I just set the start time to that date in the right format, posted it. I got a notification telling me the app had posted in the past on my timeline, right? And then it shows up in my timeline. You can't probably read it, but it says 31st of December, 1999. Very, very simple and straightforward. Fantastic. A few other updates. So today I learned that if you put an animated GIF in PowerPoint, it will animate. Please don't be distracted by the peanut butter jelly time banana. A few other updates. How many of you use Facebook credits to pay for things? Or use the credits API? Anyone? A few people. Cool. So there's a new action parameter which helps sort of simplify your API calls. You should look into that, see if it has any benefit for you. And also there's a credits promotion that Facebook are running where if a user buys $1 worth of credits, they get $4 free. So Facebook are pushing hard to get users to adopt credits. The ads API, this is something that Todd mentioned very briefly. So you can use a thing called an action spec to do a couple things with ads. You can support Open Graph activity. So if you want to create a featured story that I chowed down on a pizza slice, I can now do that using the ads API automatically. This is way more flexible than the old way. It's fully enabled for Open Graph stuff. It's designed exactly for that. And also the same action spec format is available for using ad targeting. So if Todd wanted to show an ad to anyone who chowed down at pizza at the Facebook Developer Garage, he could. Before he couldn't. A few things as well. If you're using Page Insights, a whole bunch were removed recently. Some of them, they may not have documented fully. So if you find that you've got some stats that look really weird, it's possible that they may have just disappeared. So please check those. And then finally, for people who do a lot of mobile development with test users, you can now set a test user's password manually. So you can actually use them as opposed to not using test users. I'm not going to do the banana dance. I'm really tempted right now, but I'm not going to do it. OK, and that's it. If you have any questions, please find me at the break. Otherwise, thank you.